morning, everyone. Today, I'm going to share with you a huge topic called personal branding. Personal branding is a huge topic, and that comes with a lot of sub topics. But what I'm going to share with you today is the core of personal branding. And if you are serious about building a personal brand that sustains and grow together with you, this is the core that all that you need to know about personal branding will be in today's sharing sessions. The foundations and the core of personal branding. And that's where my topics go. This is a topic that is very close to my heart because I personally journeyed the path and I'm still learning about personal branding in different phases of my life. So today's topic will be centered around establish your identity, your unique brand identity, and grow your brand along the way. Okay, so today's session is our dialogue. So in order to have the success factors for today's sessions, right, it has to have a two-way communication. So I'll go through my presentations, and if you have any questions, you can post your questions in the chat room, or along the way, I will pause and ask you if you can just ask me any questions along the way. Just go with the flow, right? So more importantly, let's have fun together. So, right, so let's begin with an activity. So when I show a brand, the first, when I show a words, right, in the next slide, when the first brands that comes to your mind with regards to the words, you need to type in the chat room. Okay, instantly, you don't need to overthink. The first brand that comes to your mind, you just type in the chat room and let us see. All right, how many students we have right here in this room right now? 49, right? 49. Okay, all right, so so let's get started. The first one would be fried chicken. What is the first brand that comes to your mind? Type in the chat room and let me know. Fried chicken. Well, I see McD, I see KFC, Texas chicken, right? Okay, so most of you would think that the first brand that comes to your mind is the KFC. BBQ, Mamak. All right, next will be, yes. So I've done this activity to a lot of people during my training sessions, and usually in the previous time, the first brand that comes to our mind is always KFC. But along the way, I see the new trend. Texas chicken and McD will come into place. But still, fried chicken, the first brand is KFC, the majority. So the next one, coffee. What is the first brand that comes to your mind? Coffee. So we have Starbucks, we have Coffee Bean, Nescafe, Old Town, right? Where are the rest? Right, the brand that I usually get, right, whenever I flash coffee is Starbucks. Okay, so in NMU, I know that now the trend is going towards like Old Town. Okay, next, how about toothpaste? Colgate. We have Dali. We have Dali in the house. Colgate. Yes, you are right. So most of the majority of the people would think of toothpaste. The first brand that comes to your mind is Colgate. So especially to Malaysians, right? The next, yeah. So the next one will be sport shoes. This is more interesting. Sport shoes. What is the first brand that comes to your mind? A lot more, right? Nike, Adidas, Bata. Anyone else? Brooks, Skechers, right? So whenever we think of sports shoe, interestingly, in this room, we have the majority of you mentions Nike, but in all the previous training sessions on personal branding that I have conducted, the majority of them will have a two group of people. One is Nike fans, the other one is Adidas fans. So this is the first sessions that I have seen we have majorities skewed towards Nike. So in all the previous classes that I've conducted, all of them have 50-50. So we have this. So I have these two brands on my slides. So the next one, search engine. Search engine, the first brand that comes to your mind. First brand. Yes, we have Google. We have Chrome, Google. Yes. Bing. Okay, the first brand that usually comes to a lot of people's mind, this is since a very long time, is always Google. Always Google. Yeah, this is like day in, day life, we are using Google, Mr. Google. Right, next, bank. I want to find out from the newer generation, what is the first bank that comes to your mind, the brand? Bank, CMB, Public Bank, Hong Leong Bank. Wow, interesting. We have a different outcome for the first time as well for banks. All this while, the brand that I get is always Maybank. We grow up with this brand since we were a kid. But nowadays, it looks like CIMB will be the most prominent brand for this group. Okay. Next one, badminton player. Chong Wei. Dr. Lee Chong Wei. Yeah, in the Malaysia hearts, people always remember the badminton player is always Lee Chong Wei, right? Okay, you're right. And next, interesting, Apple. What's the first brand that comes to your mind? Don't tell me, doctor. iPhone. Okay. So interesting as well. In the previous sessions, like all the brands that the person that I get, the brand that appears or the first words that comes to their mind, my participants' mind, is always Steve Jobs for iPhone. Yeah. And last but not the least, this is very important. So Malaysia tops private university with best in-class courses. What's the first brand that comes to your mind? Malaysia's top private universities. Silence. All right, we have Utah, we have Taylor, we have Monash, we have UTP, Taylor. What else? MMU. Yeah, Dr. Alicia, yeah. Not MMU. Okay, this is exactly what I've screened through. I know there are a few popular courses in MMU as well. Yeah, Dr. Abdullah is like asking, no MMU? This is exactly the phrase I get from one of the brochures from MMU. Yeah, that's good to know. Thank you for being so honest. The first brand that comes to your mind, that's exactly what we want. Now, the question posed to all of you to ponder is that, have you ever thought of, what is the first words that comes to others when we mention about your name, about you, right? So this is what we are going to talk about, your brand. You are your own brand today, right? Next, Peter. So when talk about personal branding, like I said, it's a huge topic. And people perception is the reality. The first thing when we talk about you as a person, the first word that comes to other people's mind is their perception. And a lot of time that perception is the reality. When it comes to personal branding, it is none other than these 5 perspectives of personal brand. And it always it started with inner image, then move on to visual image, assumed image, experience image, and proven image over time. So there are these 5 very important core perspectives in personal branding, but it always begins with branding your brand right, always begin with your self-image. A lot of people over the time, they want to do personal branding, right? But they have forgotten that to start it right, have to start within yourself, because the outside can guide you or inspire you, but knowing yourself has to come from within. And that is so important that when we kickstart the journey in building a more compelling personal brand, regardless of whether you want to have your business brand moving forward or it start with you first as a person. the owner, business owner, and it starts with the self-image and your self-esteem. So how do you look at yourself? Why this is very important is because that if you don't accept yourself, if you don't love yourself, how do you expect others people to believe and love you? Right? We must first take care of ourselves, know that, accept who we are, and then we enhance our personal brands in different aspects in our life. The first is self-image and self-esteem. So what does it mean? It means by, next would be to get up and get started by knowing yourself, what matters to you most in life. Have you ever wondered when people ask you this question, you just find it very difficult to answer, who are you? If I ask you this question, who are you? What would be your answer? You may not need to reply me, but you think through, what would be your answer? Do you find it very difficult to answer this question? Yeah. Do you find it very difficult to answer this question? So if you find it very difficult, you type 1 in the chat room. You'll find it very difficult whenever people ask you, who are you? How would you want to respond properly? It always begins with, if you know your self-image and your self-esteem, you know what matters most to you in life, that would be your directions. That will be your guiding principle to make every decision in your life. And that is how we will explain who you are. And that is the first step in personal branding, which is establishing your unique identity. That's where you always hear that people say everybody is unique in their own sense. It depends on whether you know and you leverage on your uniqueness and grow your brand story, because you yourself is a brand. And your story will somehow inspire and add values to other people along the way, right? It's when we go through different phases in our life. So this, I would like to share with you a concept called Ikigai. I'm sure this is not something very new to you, but a lot of people do not spend enough time to discover about themselves. All of us are born with a natural intelligence. But do you know what is your natural intelligence? We are born with certain nature, right? Inclinations, the things that we are good at, the things that we naturally enjoy doing, right? But how much do you leverage on your nature and your intelligence in order to become a better person that can add values to the community and other people, and also yourself, right? It begins with searching inside yourself. And I would like to use this concept, Ikigai, because it shows everything that we need to find a sense of self. A sense of self is the sense, and also to live the life with a sense of purpose. When you have this, when you have your sense of self, that is your anchor in life. And that's where you have a directions to grow your personal brand, because we cannot please everybody and we want to find the niche, right? And it begins with searching inside yourself. So if you look at this diagram, very interesting, colorful diagram, and I personally love it. If we were born with certain nature, intelligence, right? Something that you naturally good at is your strengths, right? So, and something that you enjoy doing. So in between what you love and what you are good at, something that you can do effortlessly and you enjoy doing it is your passion. Okay, but the things about this is not enough to find a strong anchor in your life, because if there is no challenge in your life, there is nothing that can excite you. You enjoy doing, you do it effortlessly, sometimes it can be bored, right? Then we move on to the next one. What you love to do and what the world needs comes with a mission, a higher purpose. But a lot of the time that people fall trapped into these situations that they love what they do, they enjoy what they do. That is a very meaningful job. But the thing is, they don't get enough financial well-being to support us and sustain their life. So that comes to the next one. If you are in a good occupation, you have a good occupation, and over time you develop your professions, you are paid well. But without mission, a higher purpose, without the new challenges, it won't excite you because it gives you a lot of certainty. But if you are doing what you love and what the world needs, it gives you uncertainty. So we need to balance these two up. Okay, that's why you see in a lot of corporations, how do we engage our talents, right? It's really to give them new challenges. That is one of the ways to keep them and retain them with the company and grow together with the company. We can pay them, there are financial can keep you excited to a certain level, right? But it is not everything. It is not everything. In order to keep the talents in the organization, we always want to give them a higher purpose, something that challenges, that excite them, right? So that is how we balance uncertainty and certainty in life. And finally, is if you are leveraged on what you are good at and you are in the professions, right, you can earn the money, but you still need the excitement to grow over time. So in the center, it's called Ikigai. When you have these four things overlap all together, you will find your a strong sense of self and a strong sense of meaning in life, right? So that is the first step to discover. It begins with your self-image, right? Number one is, are you confident about yourself? Do you love who you are today? Okay, there's no right or wrong, but you need to do a reflection right now. Do you love who you are today, or there's aspect in life that you want to improve a lot more? But it begins with do a reflections on yourself, searching inside yourself, your self-image. Are you confident, your self-esteem, and what matters to you? That is a sense of self and a sense of directions in your life. All right, so from here, everything will look different. In the next slide, you'll see that if you are able to discover about yourself at this point in time, you have concluded the first stage of personal branding, which is the root and the core of personal branding, is your inner image. Because what is within you will guide you to make decisions in your life moving forward. Then we'll move on to the next aspect of personal branding, which is what I term it as great image. Now, a lot of time people who come for personal branding consultation, right, they will always look at, quick fix. I would call this component of personal branding, visual image and assumed image, as the quick fix in personal branding. And usually it is the easiest to fix. You spend a lot more time in discovering yourself, your strength, your weaknesses, your natural intelligence in the first component of personal branding. And when that is done right, you'll find it easier for you to find the style that is aligned to your image, which is the visual image, what people see you as a person, how people see you visually, your appearance, and people, when they look at us, they will straight away judge and make an assumed image in their mind. That is their perception. And perception is their reality. We can't change what they are doing, right? Because that's perception shapes the reality in their mind. So now I have two photos here, two gentlemen. So what's your first impressions towards these two gentlemen? Sorry. Right? Do you have more confidence towards the guys on the left, or do you have with the tie, or do you have more confidence towards the guy, if let's say you are a salesperson, on the right with the messy hair? Right? So impressions matters when it comes to great image, the visual image, because once you have found yourself, you want to express it. When it comes to personal branding, it's not about impressing as an intention. Your intention is to express you as a person, because personal branding is all about building a personal presence. Have you ever wondered, when you go for a meeting, when someone walks in, people will just look at the person. The person can just naturally capture other people's attentions, but to some other people has been in the room for a long time, but nobody noticed them. They are not memorable. It's because they fail to create a personal presence. And personal branding is all about creating this personal presence. Okay, so if you look at the next slide, that comes the ladies. What is the impressions you have towards them? And I'm sure the first word you will use to describe these two ladies will be very different, just as the two gentlemen just now in the previous slides, right? The first adjective words that you want to describe these two persons will be different. And why impression is very important. In the previous time, a lot of people say that it doesn't matter as long as you have substance. But who will discover your substance when you don't make your presence felt? You cannot blame others. It is your choice to make your presence felt. have you intentionally and deliberately, typical sorry, intentionally and deliberately create the personal presence you have? And in corporate, we call this an executive presence. Okay, it is not just about how you look and also how you carry and market yourself. You carry yourself and present yourself. That is the most important thing in the personal branding. So you may say that we should not judge others, but the truth is we are born, judging others is a natural, we were born to judge others people, because in our brain, there is this little structure called amygdala. In the next slide, you will see that this little structure called amygdala, they allow us to sense the danger. So when we look at it, is meant to protect us from danger. For example, if you are in the jungle, you have seen a lion charging at you, the brain wants to protect us. The first reaction is to run. It's not about overthinking what you do next, but you run first, right? So this is the function of amygdala. So we judge is triggered by this little structure in our primitive brain called amygdala. Okay, so we all of us, if you are a human being, we judge. That is our nature. So that's the reason why we have to put emphasis in how we look, and also to align with the substance that we have. For example, your strengths, what you can add values. But do you express to your personal presence? That is another aspect that you may want to look into in the personal branding. So coming to the next, I'm going to share with you that in our personal branding, how long does impressions last is how long does a person form an impression of you? The majority of impressions forms based on how we look. Okay, based on how we look first, and then how we say things, our vocal variety, and only 7% comes from what are the things that we see. So when we judge others, it's based on how you look, the visual image, then you assume that's 55%. The moment the persons talk, then you form another impressions of the persons, and that is 38%. That's why you see that a lot of people put less emphasis on the choice of words during the first impressions, is how you say things out instead of what are things that you actually see. That forms overall impressions besides your visual image. That's why a lot of time you see that when people raise their voice, even though they have a good intention, you just don't buy it. You just turn off. You just turn off, right? So that's the reason why the impressions were formed by these 3 V's components, what we call the visual, your vocal, how do you communicate, carry out, convey your message, and finally 7% is based on what exactly you are talking about. Okay, so that is impressions. That is the importance of visual image. And I'm going to share with you a core principle of styling that we use in personal branding. So there is a lot of subtopics when it comes to styling, but today I'm going to share with you this fundamental we use applies in all the styling methods. Styling is all about enhancing, first accepting who you are, understanding yourself from the within. The next one will be understanding yourself from your appearance, your head to toe. And this concept is called the yin and yang. So this is not about religious. This is not about religious. This is an ancient philosophy. It is about everything. What we wanted to create as our image is a balanced image, right? If a person, they can be the most handsome gentleman in the world, but the person doesn't know how to enhance the overall appearance, the image may not be sustainable. There are certain people that they may not be the best looking guy or girl in the world, but they have this magnetic attractions or magnetic personality, or the appearance that you attract people's attention. So that is a concept of the yin and yang. How do we create a harmony and balanced look so that we can build a style which is aligned to our self-image? So this is yin and yang. Yin and yang is how do we, for example, day is yang, night is yin. When these two comes together, it is complete. This is how yin and yang symbolize the styling principle. And the next one, you will see that all of us can be categorized into yin face or yang face by purely looking at our features. Okay, yin face means that you have a softer feature. So if you have a softer features, you are like this example of the gentleman on top of these slides. They generally give people an impression that they are more approachable, friendlier, usually not that distance, okay? So if they are in the sales profession or doing a sales and marketing because you want people to come to you, right? So that naturally people will have the inclination go to them instead of people who have a stronger features where they have a distance, where you feel that the person is a bit distant, right? So people who has a stronger features are like the photos at the bottom here, the three gentlemen. They have the yang face. So people who have the yang face seem to have a stronger features. They seems to be more competent, but at the same time, more distant. That you feel that they are not so friendly, right? So there's no good or bad, but by knowing our features, in the next slide you can see some examples of the ladies. By knowing our features, we know how to use styling to enhance our overall appearance. It's not about going to change your feature or anything, but it's to enhance. Styling is to express your character. That's why you found your characters when you found getting to know yourself, right? Your self-image. Then you enhance your character through your styling and align that to your self-image. So how do we align that with accessories? This is another huge topic, but I'm going to share with you the fundamental for today. By knowing your yin and yang face, and then how do we style ourselves to complement our features, to bring out the best in us, complementing ourselves like the yin and yang, complementing each other, is you can use either accessories, right? For the ladies, all the accessories can be categorized into yin and yang as well, right? Those who have yang face, we would recommend them to use the yin accessories like the flowery scarf or the pearl that will soften their features, right? It depends on what are the occasions they want to attend to. Otherwise, if they are using a stronger accessories, a yang accessory to complement their yang face, then they will look stronger, right? People will feel that they are coming up too strong, right? So it depends on the occasions. We can style the look based on using the accessories and also the styling concept. So this is one of the fundamental of styling. There are many more concepts in terms of styling, but today I'm going to share with you this basic one where you can instantly apply by getting to know your features. So in the next slide, I'm going to share with you one of the styling methods that ladies always use, and always it's not about fashions, but styling is something practical you have to do day in, day out, is makeup. So this is a very famous YouTuber. When she doesn't make up, she looks good. But when she's making up, it enhances the overall features to give the impressions that she wants over time. So in the next makeup, right, you can see that she comes out stronger, more yang. In the middle picture, she is a softer colors and a more ladylike. She looks more yin. Her face feature herself is a yin face, a very soft looking look. So if using different makeup techniques is part of the styling, that it will give people a different impression. So for the ladies, so makeup is something that is very practical. You can apply to enhance your features. Okay. So for the gentlemen, we may not have a lot of accessories, but interestingly in the corporate, especially if you are doing the sales and marketing, right? How do we enhance your overall features? For those who have yin face, sometimes they may have the barrier to approach people who have a stronger character, who may need to put a lot more efforts to show the confidence during the first impression. So what do they do is, in the sales profession, right, one of the most popular accessories that gentlemen will use is the spectacle, right, the specs. So sometimes when you wear specs, regardless of whether you have perfect eyesight or not, sometimes it's really to enhance and frame your look so that you create the appearance that is aligned to what you want and to the occasion. Okay. Some of them, they wear spectacles, they frame themselves, right? They look younger. Some of them, they look more mature. So it may help attract different opportunities to you. So it depends on what works well for you. All right. So you may wonder, some of people, you may say, this is not true. You look at the Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs. Every time they go for presentations, they'll always wear the same clothes, same pants, and same shoes. But that's all right. People will just listen to them. You can only do that when you have built your reputation. People will trust you regardlessly, and that will take time. It starts with you have a very strong anchor in your life, your self-image. If you look at the next slide, you see that Steve Jobs, when he started, when doing a presentation or product launch, is full suit, right, to create impressions first. But over time, he has developed what is matters to him the most, right, in life. It doesn't really matter what clothes that he wears in presentations, but people will still listen to him. So you can do this only when you have established your credibility from the inside out, because people just trust you over time with the consistency and reputation that you build over time. So the next one comes to the different aspect. The next aspect of personal branding is experience image. This is one of the most important aspect of personal branding, where we need to put a lot more time in building this skill or competency. It's called what I call as social intelligence. You can have the quick fix to your appearance, but the moment you started to communicate or speak, right, people will not listen to you. It is a turn off. So how do we sustain a personal brand from this inner image to building connection with people, right, is your social intelligence. And this comes with a lot of soft skill, and a lot of time is about building with people. You want to build a business, it's through people. Just like Starbucks, they are not doing a coffee business, they are doing a people business. They are providing a pleasures, a lifestyle to people. People is their business, it's not coffee, right? So social intelligence, I'm going to share with you. If you want to grow your brand, first establish your brand, which is your self-image, your inner image. And then when it comes to growing your brand, impressions will play a part. But the most important part to sustain your personal brand is about building connections with people. And that's how we grow our brand. And network is your net worth. It is true. Why do I say, especially in today's personal branding is more relevant than ever before in today's open source era, where everything and anything seems to be connected, and you don't need to meet a person face to face. You can leverage on social media to build connections. But the challenge is, before we look into the challenge out, why it is important, in the next slide you will see that all of us have these 4 capital in our life, right? If you have financial capital, you're born with money, golden spoon, right? You don't need to worry about money. That will give you certain advantage. That is called the financial capital, right? Then you, when we were young, parents will always emphasize, most of the parents will always emphasize that you must study hard, study well, and then you get a good job, or you can do things that you like. Then you have your intellectual capital, right? It is intellectual capital is your knowledge, your talent, your strategy, your information that guide you to make decisions. So if you have these 2 capital, powerful, right? And if you have political capital, political capital is meant to be your power, your influential power based on your status. That's why a lot of people wanted to climb to the career ladder, because political capital is important to them, means the power to influence from the status is important to them. So that can be one of the capital, right, that we can leverage on to make an influence, to influence others people, to attract opportunity. But in today's world, the biggest and most important capital that we have, that we should emphasize, is the social capital. And many people neglected the importance of building social capital. Let me tell you why this is happening, right? This is the 4 capital. I'm going to show you in the next slide, right? Social capital can give you the access to any of the aspect of the previous capital: financial, intellectual, and also political. But are you right now, this is a question for you to think through, have you started to build or leverage on your social capital to build your network, to allow you to open a door for opportunity to access to others' capitals in your life? So in the previous slide, you can see what I'm going to the previous slide. So this is what we always right now is, this is called the click network, which means that we have our own network, people that we are comfortable with going out for lunch, going out, spending time together, even though both of you or you have a group of friends which is very close to you, even though you come out together, all of you are playing phones, not speaking at all, not communicating, not having any communication or conversation, you still feel very comfortable to be with them. And you just enjoy spending time with them, regardlessly whether you are having a conversation with them or not. So these are the group of people you are very comfortable with. You tend to have the tendency to overbuild the click network, which means that the people you know day in, day out is just a few people. So one of the example, if you are in my era, this is one of the famous sitcom, The Friends. So this is an example, the classic example of click network. The question to us is, are we overbuilding click network, right? So if you're overbuilding click network, you may want to reflect and start to allow yourself to explore and get to know more people beyond the circle that you have right now. Okay, so in the next slide, you'll be seeing that how do you gain access to others' capital? Number one, you need to build social capital. But how do you build social capital is you need to have a broker network. Especially, I get to know that most of you are in the entrepreneurship course, right? If you wanted to build your own business moving forward, you can't just have click network. You need to expand your network through broker network. Broker network, which means that you have access to certain friends who have access to others people in different field or industry. We tend to have click network because we're growing up in the same environment. Then over time, for example, you go to work in a company, you get to know people in the same environment, same exposure. Then you tends to have group thinking, right? It is very comfortable. It is in your comfort zone. But you need to jump out of your comfort zone to go out and expand your network, to get to know people who isn't in your field. Because moving forward, how do we build network and business, right? It's more on collaborations. Innovation and collaborations is very important moving forward for us to grow our brand, to grow your business, or grow our business. So it begins with having a broker network, right? Get to know people from different field, industry, different domain knowledge. Be interested in what others people are doing. You may not know there is collaborations opportunity or business opportunity coming your way, but you need to start building. We need to start building broker network, because a lot of us, we have a lot of click network, but not enough broker network to expand our network. Okay. So today, especially after MCO, life will never be the same anymore. We used to be used to be meeting up people face to face, but right now we are forced to live the life differently in the new normal, where virtual meeting or your first impression may not be face to face, right? Your first impressions may be formed over a virtual meeting. So the good things for personal branding is that we can leverage on social media to build genuine, authentic, and quality connections. How do we do that is a question, but this is a platform for us to leverage on to build a personal branding. If you want to build a network, a lot of the business opportunities or partnership forms on social media, for example, LinkedIn, we have not met face to face, right? We don't need to meet face to face to have an alliance or to form business opportunities together or partnership. All right, but how do we do that? Is to be bold in using social media, but at the same time be cautious, because whatever you post, whatever you do, people are watching, and that is personal branding is building a presence, right? The presence can be using social media as one of the channel, because right now we rarely have the chance to meet face to face. Social media allow us to expand our network broadly, widely, and once you cast your net wider, then you can go building a deeper relationship with people who is associated with what you're thinking, more aligns to your values, your principles, right? But how do we do that is your personal branding should be a manifestations of who you are as a person, and it amplifies what you believe. And that's why I say it is so important to first establish your identity, because that is what matters to you in life the most. Then from there, you can storyify it, build your brand story, share what you believe in the social network, because your vibes will attract your tribes. That's how we grow the community. So why social intelligence is very important is because all things being equal in the previous slide, you can see this, all things being equal, people will work with people they like. And when all things not being equal, people will still choose to work with people they like. So when you need to build your personal brand, you need to let people to know who are you first, who you are as a person, right? And people need to like you before they trust you. When they trust you, you build, they give opportunities to you that you may never even imagine right now. So that's where the starting point of, especially when it comes to building online personal branding, and connection is something that we build with people to grow our brand. That is the only way to build the brand, right? And I always believe this, in today's, it is very important. All of us are our own brand. You have your own unique brand story. It is a matter of time how soon you discover your brand story and you manifest who you are as a person and what you believe. Okay, your vibes attracts your tribe. So that is the principle that I think it is very relevant when it comes to online personal branding. If you want to grow your brand, we can't please everyone, but we need to find a sense of self. That is our direction and anchor, and that's where we start to grow our brand. When we grow our brand means what? It is not just about receiving, it is also about giving. So that is a cycle that keeps going on to build the momentum to grow your brand. It's regardless of what you do in life, that is important. You are your own brand. Okay. So ultimately, if you do this consistently, then you are able to establish your credential from the inside out, and that is your reputations. When you have your reputations, you know what matters to you in life the most. You can make clearer and better decisions in your life and attract the right communities to your life. And that's how we grow. Personal branding to me is a lifelong learning journey. What matters to you right now may not be what matters to you 10 years down the road. So personal branding is evolving together in different phases in our life. Just take it as a learning journey and you enjoy the journey, because it is about living the best version of you every day. Okay, consciously through your brand building. And finally, I would like to share with you this Industrial Revolution's summary, that moving forward, I'm sure this is not something very new to you. We have been talking about Industry Revolution, IRA 4.0 for the longest time. It's just that during the MCO, that digitalization has been accelerated from education to the corporate world to business, right? It has changed the way we used to live. And we are progressing well, right? So in the previous time, if you look at the previous revolutions, the changes may be slower, but it's getting faster. Now it's even faster. The future is even more unpredictable. So in the previous time, we can still take time, learn, and empowering corporations, because what we focus on, like the machine is the ones that do the work to be productive, right? But moving forward in the digital world, right now and moving forward is a blending between a physical world and also a digital world. And it is the era that we should empower people. It's not about corporations, it's about people. And that's where I say that personal branding is essential to every single one of us, because it's open up opportunities and optimize the opportunity in our life. So it's about empowering people, and you can see the changes moving forward. What does it mean by empowering people? Is that we need to equip ourselves the competencies to make a better decisions, which is called the wisdom, right? And one person can do so little, right? And when you leverage on your social capital, you can access to different types of informations, people with different competency in the world, and that's where you can help yourself to make a better decisions. And moving forward, if you're a business owner, it is even more crucial and important for you to make a right business decisions without knowing, because moving forward, the future is so unpredictable. Some of the things that may never happen before, but how do you still make a decisions at this point in time? So that is what we need to equip ourselves by first empowering ourselves, right? So the changes will be even faster moving forward. So in order to grow, the next slide is the growth is just one word for all of us, is to continuously learning, right? When we were young, we need to find out what is our natural intelligence, and that's where we can leverage on that to strengthen our strengths. And over a certain time, when you are older, maybe 30 and 40, you focus on what you're good at and enhancing what you're good at over time to add value. So in short, personal branding is how you see yourself and how others sees you. Is in the middle, that is your current personal brand. Now the question for you is, are you satisfied with your current, with your existing brand? Do you like your existing brand? Okay, not just about asking yourself, it's about asking people, hey, what is the first word that comes to your mind when you think of me? What's the impression I created, right? It's a learning journey. So if you are not happy, if you are happy with who you are, where you are today, your brand today, congratulations. Just keep building the momentum, build the connections, and build the community. All right, then opportunities will come. But if you are not, it is time for you to go back to the first aspect of personal branding, your self-image, and find out what matters to you in life. What are things that you want to emphasize and grow further in terms of the aspect of your personal branding, who you want to be. And in the middle, that will be your new, brand new personal brand. And you are your own brand, and it begins with establishing your identity, and that your brand stories will grow. So the most important thing at the end of personal branding, why do I need to go through with you the 5 circles, the 5 aspects of personal branding in the next slide, is because your identity will determine your destiny. That is your guiding principle in making decisions and choices in life day in, day out. And what do you want to achieve is the A for alignment. Okay, the best personal brand has to be aligned from the inside out. That's what we want to achieve. Over time, and with that alignment, you can be like Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs of the world. You have your own reputations that people will just trust you, regardlessly of what you see, right? So you are your own brand, leave your brand. So that's the action plan. But most importantly, in order to change, is to really take massive actions from now on. If you do nothing, it will not take place, right? So get up and get started. So that comes to the end of my sharing. If you have any questions, you can, since this is a dialogue, so we are here to supposed to have a discussion with all of you. If you have any question, you can post it right here, and then I will take it through with you. All right.
Know more about teen and young faces. Can you just...
Yeah, thank you, Yinje, for the questions. Yes, this is a very interesting way. So instantly you can apply to yourself. If I can have a chance to look at you, then I can tell you the answer. But otherwise, it will be not difficult to recognize whether you have a yin face or a yang face. Yin face, naturally, you have a softer features, and the problem you have for yin face and the problem you have for yang face is different. Okay, so people who has a yang face, right, they come out stronger. They may look more serious, but they may not be as strong in character. If you get to know what I mean. But the features give people impressions that they are very unfriendly, very distant. So if I am in the customer service field or in the sales profession, right, with this face, I need to complement my features, not to change my features. You need to accept your features, right? Then you use styling to enhance your features by using accessories, makeup, hairstyle, right, to enhance your appearance. For example, if you look at me, right, I naturally has a very stronger features. which means that I always receive this feedback from my friends when I was growing up. They said that I'm very distant. I look very distant. I look very, very serious, especially when I smile. Right? So if I have a face, strong features with an angular face like myself right now, and I will appears to be more the feature is stronger. So how do I soften my overall features is number one, if I have an angular face, right, I will use round shaped accessories to complement my face shape. Okay. Number two, flowers. Flower is more yin and I have a yang face. So it complements, give a more balanced look. So I don't appear to be very fierce. Okay, this is something that's very subtle in styling, but it is very practical. You can use it day in, day out. And this is how I separate and differentiate styling and fashion. Fashions go by trend, right? Up this trend, then you have a new trend coming in. But styling is timeless. And you first get to know your features overall. I hope this answer your question, what is yin and yang, and how can we enhance our features by not spending a lot. Just need to pick and choose the right accessories and sometimes the makeup to enhance our look for ladies. And for guys, hairstyle is very important, and the most popular accessories will be the spectacles.
There is one. Okay, please. Sorry. Continue.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, there is another question by Yasmin Binte Abu Bakr. Do you think everyone has the potential to create a personal branding for themselves in terms of business or networking?
Absolutely.
Yes, the first question, absolutely, I agree with her. Yes, absolutely. This is, thank you for the question, Yasmin. This is like to assure you, yes, the earlier you start, the better. And I wanted to say that you first need to establish your identity because you need to find out what matters to you the most in life. And that's where you can grow your brand sustainably, right? Because we do not want to grow a community that just by number but no quality. Like I say, your vibes attract your tribes. Yes, we can't live without other people. If you were to be in any businesses, even you're being employed, people plays an important role in our life, and that's where building networking is very important. Therefore, one of the action plans, if you wanted to take out of today's sessions, right, I would really encourage you, if you always have lunch with the same person, go out with the same person, there's time for you to think through to go out with, get to know other people beyond your circle of life. You learn things through people, be interested in what other people do, and that your opportunities will come. Yeah.
There are a few more questions. There is another question from Mohammed Rafi. It is very interesting, thank you, but I have a question. Sometimes it is confusing to me whenever I am approaching high figure people, some of them very friendly and it is easier to mingle with, but some also very cold and unpredictable. Do you have suggestions? Which personality better we bring up in general, especially in Malaysia?
Yep, fantastic questions, Rafi, Muhammad Rafi. Thank you for the questions. Yeah, I think this is the common challenge a lot of people go through, right? That's why the first is establish your identity. You find out what matters to you. That's where you can use to make the next decisions. It's not about, we are being so conscious about how others think of us. Sometimes it consumes us too much that we forgot to focus our energies on what matters to us. So you need to first establish what matters to you. Even though sometimes, like for example, if I generally you look at someone, your colleagues, you smile at them, right? But you just find that sometimes people just don't smile back, right? But that doesn't stop you from being nice, because you know that you are doing the right thing. So it starts with that first. Sometimes it can be very harsh. I know how Rafi can be very harsh. You approach certain people with good intentions, but people will just make you hurt you. It is you will face this, even though you have established a personal brand. You have established a personal brand. You have become someone. You still find people with that, but does that matter to you over time? At the end of the day, you will take time to grow yourself. That's why I say what matters to you will also evolve along the way. Personal branding is free. It is not something that you want to choose. You either you brand yourself or don't brand yourself, that is already with you. It's just that how do you leverage on your personal branding journey to continue to bring out the best.
Okay, the one last question. Do you think that when it comes to formal business setting, it's okay to have a young face structure than young style? It's by Mariam.
It's better to have a young face, right? What? Sorry.
The question was posted by Mariam Muhammad in your chat box. I mean, do you think that when it comes to formal business setting, it's okay to have a young face structure and young style?
Ah, I see. Okay. Now, if you are closing a deal, if you have a yin face, thank you for the question. If you have a yin face, when you are going to close a business deal, you may find yourself, this is the common problem you may face, is that people will always find that I'm having a baby face, very young, not capable, not enough experience. But even though you have 10 years of experience, because of your yin face, it makes people think you like that. So you want to enhance your overall experience and make you more young, right? The yin and yang, make you more young. Doesn't mean that you are young face, but make you more young, make you more credible or more confident based on by enhancing your features. Yes, you can do that, right? But for certain in business setting, right, it doesn't mean that you have a yang face, you have an advantage. For example, in certain business setting, marketing and sales per se, you are supposed to go out, business development even, right? You go out and build rapport with people to build the business connections and grow the business, right? And people with yang face, the problem that they face is that they find it so difficult that people will come to them because they always create a barrier, a distance. People find that they are too serious, like people are also afraid being rejected, right? Sometimes of being so this is another set of problem that yang face will have. So the yang face will need to make their appearance more yin to open up the opportunity, so that even though I have the yang face, the person you have a yang face, they will have a complement with the yin accessories or the yin approach, right? It gives a more harmonized look, a more balanced look, and which create a better opportunity for the person. So when you are yang face, you complement with a yin styling, right? Then you soften your features. Then you look more balanced. This is what we want to achieve. Balance is what we want to achieve. If you are having a yang face, you use yang accessory, you come out stronger. It works for certain occasions. If you want to show your authority, yes, go ahead. But if that is not your intention, please don't. I hope this answers your questions.
Okay. Any more questions? Anyone?
Rafi, yeah.
Yes, please.
Rafi is having a statement. To make it more specific, the elders' needs are like just a friend. Do you mean the question before that the people that you mean is the people who is more senior to you? And are more senior to you? Yes. Oh, I see. Okay. If it is referring to Datuk, right? Sometimes there are certain business etiquette you need to take note of. So in personal branding, like I said, you need to know, it's not just about what matters to you the most. You also need to be very conscious about the setting, the business setting, the surrounding. That's where personal branding is a huge topic where I started, right? It comes with a lot of sub topic. And these, after knowing yourself, right, you also need to learn about your business etiquette. How to be socially intelligent in different business settings. Yes, you need to equip yourself with the knowledge of, for example, how do you approach a person, Datuk? How do you introduce a Datuk to your friend? Who should you introduce first? What is the naming convention you should use? When two Datuk come together, right, there is a protocol. Who should you introduce first? So this is another topic under personal branding called business etiquette, and that is one of the subtopics under social intelligence. Of course, it is not personal branding. It's not just about you. It starts with you, but to grow your brand, you need people, right? That's where there are a lot of domains in personal branding we need to pick up. It is a huge topic. Yes, to answer your question, Rafi, it is not just to approach senior people. There is certain approach and technique we should take note of, and that is called business etiquette.